One, two, three, four. Yeah, when you're feeling down and motivated in the midweek, we got the guys here to make your life complete. Little John, Brandon, Cody, Carly, they're coming in to keep you motivated all week. New episode, same time every week. Don't gotta wait long for the next one to release. So don't go away, sit down, take a seat, enjoy Midweek Motivation with John and Carly. Hey.
Midweek Motivation.
Let's go.
I've been putting in some work, guys.
Been putting it in.
That's where Carly's been for the past couple of months.
Brandon said right before we went live, how do we know when it's over? How do we know when it's we had some major technical issues like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Had a computer crash and rebuilt the computer in like a day and a half, and was getting ready to come to the church this morning and putting the show notes together for today, and I was like, oh no, I haven't set up the Stream Deck, which is how we produce the show in real time. And so I got here and built all that stuff you guys just saw with the countdown. I don't know if y'all saw it or not. I don't even know if it's live. I told the guys, I said, in theory, everything is working today. Again, in theory.
I think in production, you always have to add that asterisk on everything.
Yeah, like
I did everything I know to do.
Yeah, I tested everything. The encoder is going. I mean, even if we're just talking and catching up, we're gonna do this.
Honestly, I hope we weren't live before.
I hope
to hear our pre-show conversation.
Yeah,
nobody wants to hear that.
That was
this live.
All right, cool. That was a bit of a gross conversation. So
Facebook is up.
Yeah,
Facebook is up.
Yeah, we're good.
Awesome. Well, listen, have you guys? I just want to kind of let's just go ahead and jump right in. Have you guys ever created a New Year's resolution only to end up stuck again in the same old, not even a month or two later?
80% done by February.
That's it. 80%.
80% done by February.
I thought it was going to be higher.
Man,
well, in a month, 80% of them are gone.
I mean, that's a lot.
Is like that a true statistic?
Yeah, I read it today when I was prepping for my little.
What's the quote about statistics?
So 80% of all statistics are made up on the spot.
Somebody just tried joining the show. Anybody see who that was?
In here.
Somebody needed a tissue, right?
I think they were looking for tissues.
So there's going to be a lot of rambling today. We can just trash.
It's been a while.
So Sunday morning, and hopefully this sweet lady isn't watching and take offense to this, but Sunday morning pre-show is live, and this lady. I didn't recognize her. Of course, I was a little frazzled because we were short like 10 volunteers Sunday. Everybody and their mama and child were sick, including Brandon's
child, not me.
Well, this lady comes in, and Darren and Lindsay, right, are in the middle of the pre-show, and she says, you guys got any tissues in here? And Darren's trying to lock in and like not pay attention. Absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, so in my defense, if you're watching pre-show and you're like, what is he doing? What is he saying? What's he looking at right now? That's what I was looking at. So not my fault.
The best thing would have just been to tell her where to go get some tissues.
I thought we were
all the way down front at the stage. Could you please?
Just go down to the altar.
Yeah. Well, I think we're just going to put a sign on the door next time. There's just no tissues.
Yeah. So she left there, and then I'm over there like on the switcher trying to control everything and make sure we're ready to roll because I don't run switcher often. And then she comes over there, she's like, you got any tissues over here? And I'm like, no, I'm sorry.
I mean, the real truth is we apparently need more tissues.
I guess
we should probably put tissues
Put
in
a
this
dispenser
room.
on the door.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what we need.
Yes.
Glad we solved
We are live right now. Grab your own tissue. Oh, man. So 80%, you know, what is it? 80% of all statistics are made up. And he said 80% of people by February. All right. So put in the chat right now. What's the earliest that you have failed or given up on your New Year's resolution? Mine, there's been times where
yesterday.
New Year's Day. I'll start again tomorrow. Somebody, John Brunk. I hope John Brunk is watching.
Oh, he's there.
John Brunk, he sent me a picture. He's like, I did pretty good on my diet. It was something along his line. I did pretty good on my diet today, and he's telling me all this thing ate. And he sends a picture of peanut M&Ms. He was like, and I even had some peanut M&Ms. I'll try again tomorrow.
Well, Pastor even shared something in his sermon on Sunday about like, you know, I'm pretty proud of myself. I haven't yelled at anybody all day and blah, blah, blah. and soon enough, I'm going to get out of bed and I need some help. Something like that. Go watch Church Sunday.
Yeah.
Pastor said it a whole lot better than I just said it.
Yeah, it was a good Sunday. You know, even with a lot of sickness, it was a good Sunday. So, have you guys ever felt like you can't, and not just on New Year's resolution, but like you can't win for losing? You ever had moments like that?
Yes.
Yeah, most of the time, 80% of the time.
Yeah.
How about you? You ever been like New Year, new me, and then New Year, same you?
Yeah.
I think I know myself too well to even make that bold of a claim. I stay right where I'm at. Yeah.
All right. New Year, same me.
Yeah.
No matter what. You said something that was pretty cool in the chat earlier.
I had a shower thought this morning. It was New Year, same guy.
Yeah, I like that.
Not enough to make it the title of the series, but
hey, it made it to the top of the show.
I'm gonna try to get
Could
it
have
in the
left
next
out that
sermon
it was
series.
a shower thought, but you know,
Maybe that's season 3.
family show here.
Oh boy! Happy New Year from Midweek Motivation, guys.
New Year, same us.
Hopefully we
That's
don't
right.
get canceled. New Year, same us. Let's go. I love it. I would have pressed the let's go button, but it's been so long I don't know where it's at.
Don't even try. Shut it down.
It'd probably be the
Shut it down.
So to pull us slightly back on topic,
Do that.
Benny and Michelle, of course, watching
Back to
together, back to back.
We got to put that
working.
picture up here.
Next week.
Next
Benny and
week.
Michelle, next week, your picture will be up. Benny and Michelle, I don't know who this is, but as one of them failed January 1st for their
Let's go.
resolution.
Yeah,
I don't know
I
if
mean-
it's this year. We're going to assume it was like previous
We're
year,
gonna-
and
we're
this
gonna
year
say-
getting better.
We're gonna say last year.
Yeah, we'll say last year.
Give you
That
guys the
sounds
benefit of the doubt. Maybe you've been one of those people like I'm gonna lose 20 pounds and fit back in my jeans from college. Don't even know why you would still have jeans from college, but I think Hannah still has a few
Some of
pair.
us aren't that far removed from college. But I
yeah.
ain't fitting.
I might still have a pair of jeans from college, but I ain't fit.
Nah, there's no chance, bro. When I graduated college,
No,
I was
ain't no
like,
chance I got
was
a
like
pair.
$150 soaking wet, and so. But the issue was like I worked out all the time in college. As a college athlete, that's all you do.
Yeah.
You work out, go to class, work out, go to class, work out, go to class. Well,
I didn't
and
do
you
that
could-
class part, but
but you could eat whatever because you burn it like within an hour. Well, I continued after college to eat whatever I wanted, but I didn't
It
work out
just
no
stopped.
more.
Yeah, and it stopped burning off after a while too. After about 32
I'm far,
for me, it was,
far removed from $150 now, man. Far removed from it. So ain't no fitting in anything I wore in college.
I'm a lot
Maybe a
closer to
pair
the
of
next
shoes.
maybe that should be my New Year's resolution to fit in something that I could fit in last year.
Hey, there you go. There's a New Year's
That's-
resolution.
That's where my life's going.
That's hilarious. What about with your spiritual walk? You know, maybe you're like, man, this year I'm gonna grow closer to God. I'm gonna read my Bible more. I'm gonna pray more, and then, you know, after you listen every year for like the last 20 years, I've made it through Genesis.
it's a good start.
Not every, like I've gone further, but like it's like the moment you get through Genesis, you're just like,
You had me wondering here. I'm like, dude, you're a pastor and you've only read Genesis? Like,
I'm saying like by the time you get through Genesis, it's just like, what?
Yeah.
I'm tired.
it is.
Wore out.
Well, it's hard to make it through like Deuteronomy.
Yes,
And
dude.
Numbers.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Those
Because,
are-
spoiler alert, Numbers has a whole lot of numbers in it.
Yeah.
I actually kind of like numbers. Like,
Me too. I'm a numbers fan,
but it
but
doesn't make it easy.
I can
But
see where people could get into it and they're like, what is happening here?
It'll make you want to do a little bit of research and try to figure some things out if you're a researcher.
Yeah.
So, you know, let's lead off with this thought here, and then we'll highlight it later on. Healthy things grow. Healthy things grow. Listen, you're watching Midweek Motivation. This is a podcast that we God gave us a vision for, that we designed to kind of give you guys a boost every Wednesday at 12 p.m. on our Parkway website and our app, Facebook, YouTube pages, when it all works, right? And so on Midweek Motivation, we try to cover everyday real issues, and we try to have real conversations. So, I mean, kind of our catchphrase is real conversations with real people about a very real God. And this isn't like a church service. This is literally,
As you can tell by the last 5 minutes.
right. And if you heard some of our
I'd go to
pre-show
that church.
yeah. So, and I just want to reiterate that we want you guys to interact as well. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Be sure to interact in the chat. And if you want to continue the conversation beyond noon or 12:45-ish when we end, man, feel free to like, subscribe, follow on all of our social media channels, social media platforms, and, of course, text the word MOTIVATE. It's right there on the bottom of your screen. Text MOTIVATE to 540-900-3838. I kept hoping, like in the weeks that I wasn't on the show, that somebody would say 900.
But it didn't happen.
Nah, man, I was a little let down.
Nobody's got that South Carolina twang except you.
South.
South. That's South.
in the mouth.
SOWF.
Yeah.
South.
Maybe two
South.
F's.
All right, let's recap a little bit, man. Christmas here at Parkway was, dude, it was amazing.
We made room.
We sure did. We had to.
Yeah.
And even on Christmas Eve, we had to bring out more chairs. This place was packed. And so part of my favorite moment, and you guys put in the chat what your favorite moment from Parkway at Christmas at Parkway at Christmas. I guess that works too.
Yeah,
Christmas
either
at
way.
Parkway. There was a lot of things we had. We had Unboxed. We had Christmas on the Mountain. We had Christmas Eve AM, Christmas Eve PM. So many really cool things that took place. I had an opportunity to preach and really had a blast doing that. But my favorite moment was candlelight when we.
We had a conversation about this. I
Yeah,
think.
it was, dude, it was so awesome. All the candles get lit, place is packed, and then the lights go down. Kudos to Darren and the team.
The lights go out, right?
Oh, yeah.
They were out.
They were out.
And you
Look,
couldn't tell.
Hannah even texted me.
insane.
She was like,
It
I thought
so
I
cool.
thought the lights were going to be out for Silent Night. I was like, they were. There was just that many people and that many candles in here. But in that moment, like I had to just record it because that was a moment that you could play back. You having a rough day, you just play that back, like and it like just silences the enemy in that
I
moment.
talked to Carly with it after I think it was after that service.
Man, it was right after.
And just told him how special it was because I was kind of near the front and
Yeah.
I turned around and like I had a couple of tears rolling down my. I mean,
no
it was
doubt.
just so spiritually moving. And when I talked to him after, I was like, "Dude, were we recording anything there? Because I need some of it.
Yeah,
like
and
I
was
need
like,
to see that."
We didn't, but I did.
And he sent it to me, so
Yeah,
it was really
it's-
cool.
It's so special, and maybe we might share that sometime on our social media. But that was my favorite part. How about you guys?
Candlelight for me is always one of those. Is part of it's a little bit of nostalgia, tradition. I grew up going to candlelight service and things, but I think what always gets me about it is the unity of everybody singing the same thing. There's no instruments.
No
Everybody's
drums.
it's just voices. Yeah, no drums. Finally, Gotta get rid of those drums.
There's a whole
sometimes.
season of no
I
drums.
needed you to shift that way a little bit so they could see the face you made behind the mic. That was no drums. That was great.
Yeah, I mean,
That was Cody's least favorite part.
Actually, it was my favorite because I got to just sit back and
you took the
got the
coolest
best seats in the house.
picture.
that you
Oh, that's
took.
what I said.
yeah.
Oh my
I
goodness!
think
You
I've
had
got
the best
4 or
seat in
5
the
years
house. Yeah.
of that picture, and it's cool. Every year it's grown.
Yeah.
And like you were saying, I was so shocked to see how many people showed up,
Yeah.
especially having 2 normal services on a Sunday morning. I
Yeah.
thought people be like, I got my fix. I ain't coming back. But it was full. And it
Almost
was awesome.
800 people holding
Yeah.
candles in one room.
which is scary.
You could see the smoke when we blew all those candles out.
Yeah,
I
when we
got a
blew
little
the
nervous.
candles out and the lights came up, it's just like.
I thought we were going to have another Halloween incident.
I will say back to my story of turning around and looking at all the candles and the people singing. And I'm probably telling on myself a little bit, but the chair in front of me, I guess I tipped my candle over a little bit, and there was some candle wax that went on the
was you.
chair.
We were wondering
right
who
in
did that.
front
Man.
of me. I was like, "Whoops!"
Listen,
tried to rub it off.
Caden's candle. She was on the back row, right behind the drum booth. Her flame on her candle was like that. like she's holding it. She's
got a sparkler.
Like what is going on here? Like a 3-inch flame on it. It was wild.
My two boys, it was the first time we gave them the actual real lit candles this year, and you could tell they were sitting there the whole time like this, just like keeping it still.
It's better than I ever
I'm
was.
not going to burn down the church. I'm not going to burn down the church.
I watched the video like the next day of a candlelight service.
Gone wrong.
Yeah, I'm in several of these like church communication and different kind of groups on Facebook, and it was a true thing that had happened that night. Husband's holding the candle and he leans to grab something, catches his wife's hair on fire.
That's too much hairspray. It must have been in the South.
We can say he did not have a silent night, right? Did y'all see what I did?
It might have been pretty silent on the couch.
I got to shout something out in the chat.
Go for it.
Susan Miller said her favorite part was her baptism.
Let's go. That was so
And
special.
I didn't, now with the new position of the stage and everything, I didn't.
Yeah. Dude, like how special was that?
Right.
I mean,
We gotta do it every year.
just
Yeah, I think we
so
got
cool.
to. I think we'll do it every year.
Will
like-
we get 12?
11, I think.
11, yeah.
I think it was supposed to be 12, but one person wasn't able to make it. But I think it was a total of 11. Listen, it was so cool. We've seen Susan on the show, but I didn't recall meeting her in person. And so I was up there kind of introducing myself. Cassidy was introducing me to everyone. And I'm like, hey, I'm Pastor Carly. And either Cassidy or Susan says, hey, this is Susan Miller. I'm like, hey, what's up?
I know you.
Let's go moment right there.
Yeah, it was such a cool moment. Well, so then another thing is, oh man, Robert Mitchelson, who I baptized the last time. I went up and we always try to pray with him and talk with him before. And I went up and he was the one that I was baptizing. And as I'm talking, he says, I thought I recognized that voice. And I'm like, thinking, where from? He was like, I listen to Midweek Motivation every week. In fact, that's part of what's got me to this spot where I'm at.
That's awesome.
So, man, those are cool moments when we have our family from Midweek Motivation who we're helping, and they're helping us too. Like, those kind of things are so encouraging to us. So, man, Susan, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, good things are happening here. Put in the chat what your favorite part was. Thank you for sharing that, Susan. And if anything pops up in the chat, I don't have the chat up, so you guys.
That's probably a
chime
good
right
thing.
in.
You got bashed earlier.
Who bashed me?
You're in trouble with your wife.
Oh boy, what did I do?
I'm not even sure. Usually I know, but not this time.
You'll find out.
Isn't that how the husband thing goes? We never know what we do to get in
Right.
trouble. It's like, what'd I do this time?
Yeah, so like I said, there's a lot of cool things happening here, and while Christmas is one of my favorite things, another one of my favorite things, and
The
it
famous
was-
line.
yeah. Oh crap, Carly, we're supposed to be here. Yeah. So I love 21 days of prayer and fasting, and as we talked about at the top of the show, a new year often brings about New Year's resolutions and new goals, and a lot of times in the new year, you kind of have this sense that God has more for your life. And, sadly, a lot of times that kind of fizzles out, and that's kind of what today's show is about. But God, if you feel like God has more for your life, 21 days of prayer and fasting is really a good place to start believing in Him for all that He has for you. And this is a chance for us to seek Him first, to seek His will first for our lives. And so as we practice seeking Him, He's going to move in our lives. He's going to move on our behalf. He's going to move in our lives. He's going to move on our behalf like never before. So, man, start praying, start fasting, and you'll see the impact on your relationships, your work, your family, your coworkers, your every aspect of your life. You're going to start to see that impact during this time of prayer and fasting. So it's going to look different for everyone, and that's why we put together a site, parkwayroanoke.com/21 days. You can check that out. I put it wrong in the notes. You guys see that? I mean, you can.
I can't.
That would require reading the notes.
Oh yeah.
Who read the notes?
Who read the notes? I wrote.
There's notes.
Right? How
You
come
mean
don't
we
get
planned this?
parkwayroanoke.com/21 days. We started on the 1st, and then we're going to go through the 21st, but you can jump in at any point in time. You can fast at any point in time. It doesn't have to be at the beginning of the year, end of the year. It doesn't have to be any of that. It's just an opportunity for you to do exactly what we want to talk about today. And so I guess the title of today's episode is Under My Feet. I led off earlier with this thought that healthy things grow. And this is true physically, and it's also true spiritually, especially in terms of our health, physical health and spiritual health. Healthy things grow. And part of being healthy is following a system. You start the new year off, I'm going to work out more. And so you buy that workout plan and you buy that diet plan. You follow that system for a little while. And then
A month is what I hear.
80% within a month. He studied it today. Hey, look, you had some stats, man.
Not stats.
Well, share
Just
them, because there's one that's a personal tie.
Oh, there is. There is. I've got.
Check this out.
I've got a couple of them.
Brandon did some
All
homework.
right. So the island of Caribbean, I guess I'm saying that right, also known as Christmas Island, is located in the Central Pacific, is the first place to celebrate New Year's.
What time?
Our time?
Midnight.
I would guess midnight. I would guess
12:01?
I would guess midnight of New Year's Eve. Or
was a setup.
midnight the night.
Does that just mean their time zone or?
They're the first one to hit the
Okay.
New Year time zone.
Yeah.
They're in the future. They're
The
ahead of all of us.
and the American Samoa is the last to celebrate, but there's actually two islands, Baker Island and Holen Island, who would technically be last, but they're uninhabited. The confetti dropped in Times Square have wishes written on them. You can actually go online and submit a New Year's
way.
wish throughout the year, and then they print them onto the confetti and drop it on.
That's a whole
Times
lot of
Square.
wishes that they drop.
Yeah,
Just
50,
wow.
50,000 or 50 million pounds of trash is left at Times Square or something.
It's not
like
trash,
that.
it's
Yeah.
wishes.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, some of those.
And the wishes just get swept away.
Here's one that I wish America would adopt. In Denmark, they
Put it
throw.
on your wish. I'll be here all day.
That's pretty good. In Denmark, they throw plates at their friends and family's front doors.
Yeah,
to
I've
bring
heard-
them good fortune.
I've heard that one.
That's just
That's-
a
we
good
should-
fight where I
yeah.
come from.
Yeah.
All
I
I
think they
can
call that
True that.
domestic violence.
all I can think about is on the movie Thor. Like, that was delicious. Another.
The timed ball dropped in Times Square was actually invented to help sailors coordinate their navigation equipment. It started in 1833 at England's Royal Observatory in Greenwich.
I'm about to say, you can't see the ball
And it
from New
was-
York.
It was dropped at 1 p.m. They used it to help sailors for their navigation
I
equipment.
feel like they don't use that anymore.
Shouldn't. It's still in use these days, though.
That's still a thing that they
I
use.
guess.
Wow.
It's still in use at the England's Royal Observatory.
Nice.
In the ancient Babylons, who were supposedly the first ones to celebrate New Year's, used to celebrate with a 12-day festival called Akitu, which focused on praying.
Ah, look at that.
Yep. And from around the country, in Miami, guess what they drop?
A U.
An orange. But they don't drop it.
A U.
They raise it.
What?
Yeah. I don't know. That's weird.
It's Miami.
Yeah.
No offense to anybody from Miami. Jerry, if you're watching, I love you.
In Pennsylvania, they drop a 7-foot
Steel beam.
Hershey Kiss.
Oh, I should have known that.
Yes, in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Like a real one.
Yeah, I don't know if
see
it's
the
real or
cheesesteak.
not, because if it's it's never hot. But if it got too hot, it would start like dripping chocolate
Like,
on people, and I
drop
don't
it
think
and
anybody.
I got
then-
the worst things.
Free chocolate.
All right, this next one I'm going to say for last. All right, in Mobile, Alabama,
Mobile, Alabama.
they drop a 12-foot, 600-pound.
Nick
Any
Saban.
guesses?
Statue of Nick Saban.
No. 12-foot, 600-pound moon pie at midnight.
What?
That sounds like
What
Alabama.
flavor?
I don't know.
Banana.
Get the facts, man.
I didn't get that fact.
I mean,
All
I
right.
think a real moon pie is all banana.
In Nashville, they drop a
Guitar.
musical note.
Oh.
Close. In Folly Beach, South Carolina, they drop a giant pair of glittery flip-flops. to celebrate New Year's.
Lame.
That sounds like South Carolina.
But Folly Beach is pretty awesome.
And the best one yet
You didn't even think this was real.
I said I hoped it was real. In the town of Mount Olive, North Carolina, which this man is from, they drop a 3.5-foot pickle
Yep.
from a volunteer fire department.
Yep. The pickle
That
drop.
seems awful small.
But also found out they drop it at 6 p.m.
Yeah.
instead of midnight,
It's
which
weird.
is a little.
Yeah. I think it's 6
What do
p.m.
what do you
Yeah.
celebrate though? I mean, what do you celebrate when it?
6 more hours.
You're like, hey,
Shift change at the
hey,
pickle
it's
plant.
7 o'clock. Good job, everybody.
Shift change at the pickle plant. Oh man! In case you were wondering, Mount Olive is the Mount Olive. It's the pickle capital of the world. Mount Olive pickles. You buy them everywhere.
But not olives.
No,
Nobody wants olives.
no. All right, so I
Just
guess
some interesting facts.
Yeah, the segue there was the deal about prayer and how their festival focused on that, and today would have been an amazing opportunity for us to talk about praying and fasting, and that's not necessarily what I'm wanting to do today, because 21 days of prayer and fasting and everything we face in life is more than just systems. You know, those diet plans, those resolutions that we put in place, they are normally focused on a system. The weight loss program, the exercise program, the finance program, whatever it is. And 21 days of prayer and fasting, while very spiritual, it's a system.
Yeah.
It's a system if we do not make it spiritual. You can fast every single day of your life. You could do intermittent fasting. You could choose to fast soda. I'm not going to drink soda anymore. And there's nothing really spiritual about it other than maybe the health side of it and your body being the temple of God. But you can cut out these snack foods, sweet foods, and horrible drinks and sweet tea. And all that is a system. It has to be more spiritual than it is just a system. And so that's kind of what we want to talk about today. 1 Kings chapter 5, verses 1 through 5. I absolutely love this passage. And so I want to read it with you. 1 Kings 5, 1 through 5. When Hiram, king of Tyre, heard that Solomon had been anointed king to succeed his father David, he sent his envoys to Solomon because he had always been on friendly terms with David. Solomon sent back this message to him. You know that because of the wars waged against my father David from all sides, he could not build a temple for the name of the Lord his God until the Lord put his enemies under his feet. But now the Lord my God has given me rest on every side, and there is no adversary or disaster. I intend, therefore, to build a temple for the name of the Lord my God, as the Lord told my father David when he said, your son, whom I will put on the throne in your place, will build the temple for my name. He could not build or grow until the Lord put the enemy under his feet.
I like it.
I like it too. It says the enemy was on every side, and because of that, he could not build the temple until the Lord put his enemies under his feet, until there was victory.
No, that's trusting in the Lord right there.
Right?
What does that have to do with pickles?
That's the temple, bro. Just kidding.
That's a weird
We don't
metaphor.
build temples.
Right, like, what?
We don't build temples. Just kidding.
Well, welcome back. But here's the thing, like David was called a man after God's own heart. He had a lot of systems in place. Some failed him. Some did not work. We won't share that. But he was a man after God's own heart. He had these systems in place, but yet, even with all the systems and all the great things he had done, he could not build the temple because of the enemies all around him on every side. But then I almost highlighted this, but we've spent so much time talking about rest, but I'm still going to highlight it anyways. But now the Lord my God has given me rest on every side, and there's no adversary because the enemy was now under his feet. Put in the chat right now, under my feet.
Well, I think too is talking about where he heard the word of God, but he's waiting on God's timing to actually do it instead of his own timing. You got to wait for God's timing.
Yeah, and I'm gonna hit that. That's at the end of the notes.
I know. I read the notes.
Yeah, I'm sure. So you think about these systems and the fact that they often fail. New Year's resolutions failed by February, March. If you've been really good, it's often because of the systems or the enemies around you. The temptations to go back to the way you were, the weaknesses in your life, the depression, you name it. There's so many enemies on every side that cause you to go back and not truly build the temple and not truly grow because the enemies are coming on every side. And so it's time to make our systems that we do, New Year's resolution, 21 days of prayer fasting, whatever it is, it's time to make our systems spiritual. And when we make our systems spiritual, like starting with 21 days of prayer and fasting, and put the enemy under your feet, then you're going to start to really see where you're building that temple and you're growing that temple. Win the war. This is a quote here. Win the war in the spiritual and watch it translate over into the physical. That was a thought I had this morning.
You came up with that?
It wasn't a shower thought. It was right after the shower. So...
I like that.
Yeah, win the war in the spiritual, and it'll translate over into the physical. So here's some challenges. First, you guys got any thoughts? We're at 12:31. We still got a little bit of time. You guys got any thoughts on that? Brandon, you kind of shared about him hearing and waiting on God's time. That's important. And I got some challenges here that I want all of us here to be a part of, but also you guys online. And maybe online, let us know your thoughts on that passage as well.
Maybe I should have read the notes before we got challenged today. Might not have came, like I'm busy.
My thought is remembering that the enemy is already under your feet.
Yeah.
He's already defeated. If you can just realize that and put that into your spiritual life, put that into practice, and everything else will fall into place.
Speaking of like reading the Bible in a year, almost everybody starts that. If you call yourself a Christian at all, you start some sort of yearly reading plan.
Yeah.
And early in Genesis, you said the enemy is already under your feet. Early in Genesis, it says to Adam, if I said David, it says to Adam, I give you authority over everything that crawls along the earth. And then just a little while after that, what happens to Satan? You're cursed, and now you're a crawl on your belly on the earth. We already have authority.
Yeah.
Over the enemy. He is already under our feet. And then I think it's also, it says you will crush the head and he will strike your heel. Under your feet. That wasn't even in those. That was free.
No charge.
Any other thoughts on that before we jump into the challenges? All right. So I got 3 challenges for all of us, and this is kind of where we tie in the 21 days of prayer and fasting. Here's what I want to encourage us all to do, especially in this new year, as we have kind of new visions and new goals. Improve your personal prayer life, whatever that may look like. Improve your personal prayer life. Maybe you don't pray at all right now. Start by just praying over the food and add something else in there, like I love what Harmony says. She says, "Thank you, Jesus. Thank you for this day. Love you, Jesus. Thank you for this food." Even if it's something as simple as that, that is a start for your prayer life. But don't make it just a system. Leave time for conversation.
Yeah.
Leave time for God to answer your prayer or for you to hear from him. Don't do all the talking, and be intentional. Your prayers, they connect you with God. Listen, if you want to watch a good episode on prayer, go to Midweek Motivation, go to the website, parkwayroanoke.com/midweek, and look up June or July 19th. Is it in the notes? I thought I put it in the notes.
You should have read them.
Is that season 2?
Seriously.
Midweek Motivation 11/08/23. Look that one up. That is a great one on prayer and fasting that we did before we did the Love Life Walk. we focused on that. Go check it out. Again, that is parkwayroanoke.com/midweek, and look for the episode labeled Midweek Motivation 11/08/23. That'll give you some more information on that. And one of the things we said in that episode, we talked for a little bit on how prayer connects us with God. Second challenge, and sometimes this is the harder one, enlist personal intercessors. Like, get some people who you know are going to pray for you. Get people that you know are going to be praying for you, people who will pray for you every day, people who you can call on in those dark moments, and provide details. Now, you don't want to do that with everybody. You want to, again, be intentional about who you let into that realm of your life, and know that they're going to be a prayer warrior, and they're going to fight for you. Get you some people that are going to fight for you in the spiritual.
Yeah.
And then the third challenge, couple your praying with fasting. Don't just fast for 21 days in January. Fast when faced with challenges. Fast when you're facing that difficult decision. Fast for that loved one's sake who is lost, or who got the bad diagnosis from the doctor, and then pray too. Those are my 3 challenges. Improve your personal prayer life. Enlist some people to pray with you, and fast. And I think if we do those things together, that's where we're going to truly put the enemy under our feet. Prayer connects us to God. Fasting disconnects us from the world. That was a part. That was a part of that episode we did several weeks back. Another thing, prayer should be our first priority, not our last resort. Healthy things grow. Put the enemy under your feet today, and build and grow the temple of the Lord, which is your life and your body.
What was that Jelly Roll says? I only pray when I ain't got a prayer. Yeah, don't be that guy.
Yeah. Man, that's, wow. We throwing Jelly Roll out there, man.
Get him on next week.
I don't think so.
All right, so here's my thoughts. Like, what will you do to put the enemy under your feet in this new year? Put it in the chat. Maybe let us know. What are you going to do to put the enemy under your feet in this new year? How about you guys?
Darren?
So I'm going to continue on my theme of accountability. I did a New Year's resolution that I'm going to stick to this year, because I put it out on the internet for however many people watch service at Parkway. So I decided that I'm going to read 12 books this year. Right. So I threw that out there. That was part of my resolution. But I decided to start with a book that's like 80 pages. So if you wanted to, if you're going to do that, start with something simple, right? Get a little.
That's important. Start simple.
Yes.
Like, don't try to go all in. Yeah, that's one of the things when I was teaching this to the young adults, teaching 21 days of prayer and fasting when we did it last year. One of the things I told them is, like, start simple. Like, don't say I'm going to read all of Genesis in 1 week.
Yeah.
You're an idiot.
Yeah. Because if you read two verses, you're doing better than you probably did the day before.
Right.
Like, you could read Genesis in a week, but you're not going to get anything from it.
Right. Like,
nothing.
And that's the other thing. Like, if you're going to do this Bible in a year deal, don't just read to check it off.
Yeah.
And if you miss a day because you spent so much time dissecting what you read, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
I think mission's still accomplished.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
So,
don't just check it off.
I mean, we've been in Genesis for 6 months in this sermon series. Maybe just Genesis 32.
I mean, and I think
look at
so.
you dropping some knowledge about what we've been studying.
Somebody
in
pays
church.
attention
I've been
in
at
church.
Where you been? You've been blocked by that tree.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've been there.
Cody said before the show started, he was like, Brandon, I ain't seen you in church in weeks. And Brandon just looked at him like, are you calling me out, bro?
I missed one Sunday.
For those who don't know, I got a big Christmas tree right in
From
the
where
line
I
he
sit.
sits.
Yeah.
But Christmas tree no more.
Nope, it's
You
gone.
have your peripheral vision back from the drum cage.
Don't you miss
Yeah.
a week then.
So
He's watching. We
Kinda
got we got
building-
about 4 minutes.
kind of
guys.
building off from what he said. I mean, my biggest thing this year to put the enemy under my feet is to stop using this as an anchor and a handicap.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to put this down more, and that's having more real conversations with
Real people.
friends,
About
About a
my,
very real
you know,
God.
my wife, which we conversate a lot, but still even more.
Yeah.
Picking up books. I've started a new book, Jesus on Trial by David
Oh,
Limbaugh.
that is a good one.
Did you say David Lee Roth?
David Limbaugh.
Oh, I heard David Lee Roth. I was like, man.
David Lee Roth lights the
Changes ways.
menorah, according to Adam Sandler's song. But that's what I'm trying to do is to stop using this thing as a crutch.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah,
You know?
I've even done that. Like I've gone to, I'm a tech person. Like I bought these little tiny stickers. They are NFC stickers, and now when I set my phone on my nightstand at night, all my lights and everything turn off, all my alarms turn on, and it's unreal. But I've decided, like, I've gone to a paper planner now, because this can be such a distraction from the enemy. And I don't even have Facebook on my phone right now. I don't know if I'm going to go 7 years like you have, Brandon, but I don't have Facebook on my phone right now.
11.
11. Wow. I was close. It had the Evan in it.
was that a resolution?
No,
It was a life resolution.
that was hey, I've spent way too much time scrolling and over mind-numbingly stupid stuff.
Yeah.
This isn't, and I'll tell you, my spiritual life took off.
Oh, I'm
So-
sure. I'm sure. Speaking of spiritual life taking off, as we end it, like 2 more next steps that I would love for you guys to take, and I'm pretty certain you guys are already taking it. Don't tell me if you're not. I might be mad. Join us. 21 days of prayer and fasting, and you can start right now, and you can go 21 days, 40 days, 10 days. But be intentional as you're doing it. So will you join us in prayer and fasting? And then the other thing is, will you commit to winning the war in the spiritual rather than just following systems that fail when you don't make them spiritual? Listen, thank you guys so much for joining us for another week of Midweek Motivation, real conversations with real people about a very real God. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, do all the things on social media, and join us next week, and join us on Sunday. Feel free to look up Parkway Church on the mountain in your app store, online. And if you want to continue the conversation, as always, text MOTIVATE to 540-900-3838. I pray that you have been encouraged like we have, and you've been motivated to put the enemy where he belongs, under your feet. You guys have a great week and stay motivated. God bless you guys.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, when you're feeling down and motivated in the midweek, we got the guys here to make your life complete. Little John, Brandon, Cody, Carly, they're coming in to keep you motivated all week. New episode, same time every week. Don't gotta wait long for the next one to release. So don't go away, sit down, take a seat, enjoy Midweek Motivation with John and Carly. Hey.
Midweek Motivation.
Let's go!